Doggett here, and today I am going to be doing a version of the basic harvest for the Elken. So let's start off by explaining what I'm doing. This is a basic harvest when you have no tools equipped in your hand. So this is your empty-handed harvest. Right now what we have in the game is kind of like a magic-y Jedi thing, like where you're pulling the wood from the tree. Todd didn't like that so much, so I'm going back with a different approach to this. For the Elken, he's going to be headbutting the tree to knock the loose branches off for you to be able to gather. I've already started posing them out. I have like a little sub-object in here to simulate the tree, but I'm going to turn that off so I can get a good look at the Elken. I think his idle pose needs to be changed. Honestly, Jack, what do you think? Like, maybe he's always up on like a stump.
I like that. Raymond would really like
Yeah.
that. Raymond would appreciate the stump reference.
Yeah. And like the stump just appears every time he stops moving.
It just pops up there.
What would it look like if the Elken headbutted a Ganesian? Elken might miss. Or get his horn stuck on the ground. Chaos will pick. Alright. So I already started blocking out this anticipation bow, so he's going to get down a little bit lower, rear back, and he's going to headbutt forward. So one thing about this pose that I'm trying to do is keep from mirroring the arms, where the arms do the same thing. So I'm kind of offsetting them a little bit. I can probably do that even more. But the other important thing is, like, when you're offsetting it, is to offset it in timing, which if we get to that part in the stream today, I can show you like how you would, not everything moves at the same time like a robot, so you'll have like the arms moving and getting to these positions at different times. In case you're wondering, I'm using 3D Studio Max for animating, and there you have it. So. Did I sacrifice my hair? I sacrificed my hair for cooler weather.
And it happened immediately.
And it happened immediately. My beard was about down to here, and my hair was pretty long. If I straightened it, it probably would have touched my shoulder, but since I have really curly, like, thinning hair, it kind of was here, and then there's, like, nothing really kind of happening up here. When your hairdresser goes, yeah, you might want to comb it back to kind of cover this, I was like, well, bye.
Goodbye, then.
Goodbye, hair. Goodbye, hairdresser. Look, Coolster's not happy. I picked the Mur-deer just for him.
No, he said he's very happy.
Oh, he's very happy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes me happy. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I ramble.
You?
Me?
Never.
What? Let me shorten the timeline just a little bit. So what we can also do for these is maybe give more unique basic harvest animations to the different races depending on time that we have. The only limitation that I have is to make sure that the animations are at the same length and that the hit happens at the same time. Maybe we can have the Ganesian roll into a tree. The human can like shoulder butt it. Of course, the Minotaur is going to headbutt it. And maybe the half giant punches the tree. Because there's nothing like half giant on tree violence.
I've already created a punching the tree sound. I have. Because I misunderstood when you're unarmed getting stuff from the tree. I didn't realize you're pulling it.
You thought you were punching?
Yeah, so I actually have a...
Well, there you go. There's already a punching sound, so you're halfway there.
So it'd probably be good to have them take a step forward for this and maybe drag this leg a little bit. Extend his head. body, push him forward a little bit more. Then his legs get a little awkward sometimes, but in the end they usually work themselves out. Exercise joke.
But
Side. Drag his arms because he's moving forward. Did I tell you I made a friend today?
you didn't.
I got in a Facebook argument with somebody,
Oh, that's the best.
and I think the thing is we were arguing about completely different things, and he mistaken me for somebody else. And then he was like, "Oh, you want to get in an argument with me? You'll lose." And I'm like, "You haven't met me." So he was arguing about something I said, and I was arguing whether or not the cat in Schrodinger's box was a dead, alive, or a vampire. And he kept on trying to bring the conversation back around to what I said, which he completely misunderstood. And I kept on bringing it back to Schrodinger's cat, because like if you open up that box in daylight and the cat is a vampire, the cat's dead.
That's true.
And then we started sharing photos of our cats, and then we became friends on Facebook.
You know, I've met some of my best friends through Facebook arguments.
Yeah.
And also some of the worst people I've ever encountered in my entire life.
You know who I met through Facebook?
Nobody, because you don't use Facebook.
Exactly.
He's behind the times.
It's a waste.
Yeah, my name is John Gibson. I remember when you had to talk to your friends and not just like their posts.
With your mouth.
And we said polite stuff like, "How do you do?"
I don't think Gibson ever said anything polite.
It's true.
So I'm just trying to drag these arms a little bit more. Back to me animating. Oh, and ask me any question. I'll answer it honestly.
That's dangerous.
Nobody.
That's right. I am dangerous.
Dangerous. My middle name's Danger. That's true.
Ice Cool. What was his name from Top Gun? Val Kilmer?
Iceman.
Yeah, Iceman. I am dangerous.
I am dangerous.
Val said, no, you cannot ask him any question.
Almost.
Well, any personal question, and I'll be honest.
Any
Any personal question. And I can't read and animate at the same time, so...
I'll
yeah.
find some good ones.
What's
Yeah.
your favorite position while you're working?
Sitting on Tommy's lap.
That's fair.
All right, so I know the contact point here. I don't really need to keep this fake tree up anymore. So let's key everything here.
What did you think?
Oh, was that a real question or was that your question? Oh,
And the chat is just filled with Val going, no, no, no Doggett, no Gibson.
Someone go and plug her.
It's not up to me. You gotta do it.
Who did you like? Blade Runner,
which one?
the new one.
Yeah. I went on Ryan Gosling kick, though. I saw Drive for the first time. I started watching La La Land.
Don't
No.
watch any more of that guy's movies. The director, the movies are terrible except for that one
Oh, really?
because he wrote the other ones.
All right, so I'm taking this keyframe here and I'm copying it because what I want to do is I want to have him step forward while still pulling back into the anticipation, which kind of like loosens it up. So let me take this keyframe for here. So his foot is forward. He's still going back. He's still rearing back. Pulling the arms in. I'm gonna headbutt this tree. I'm gonna headbutt this tree. I choose.
I'm gonna hit it.
I choose. elk butt.
He is a sassy deer.
He is. Maybe he's kind of. I don't want to do it.
Now that I see it.
Snarling. Maybe have him kind of going up while bending down like this. Have it kind of like start to step in. Push this a little bit more. Maybe he can just be like picking up his foot for the step. I didn't really have a lot of time to prep for the stream, so we're going to be exploring this animation together. Then let's give this contact pose. So I'm going to take this contact pose and then do the settle, and that way I can get some overlap. So his head's going to hit, and then the arms and kind of the rest of the body, maybe even the back leg, is going to drag in afterwards. So he's going to hit, the arm's going to be out, then it's going to cushion in. That way I can probably put some translate on the spine. Well, let's just do it for the head right now. And push this in slightly so the head stays. Yeah, did I do that on the wrong key? I did that on the wrong key. Gotta watch out for that, people.
Watch out for all that. So, after trying to produce smooth animations for the player models, how hard is it to do unnatural movement animations for, like, the undead risen? Yeah. Is it hard to switch over to that?
Not really. I kind of like that. That more stylized stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Always liked doing those type of like creature animations. You know, just the zombie. Just everything is just drag. He doesn't move his arm. His chest moves his arm. So he's, oh, look at that, and just kind of overlap motion. People look at me weird when I'm acting this out in the hallway.
Because you need to move it to know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
Does he say that?
Yeah. Good. Bad. You just gotta be you.
Fantastic.
I like that.
It's good words to live by. Wreck-It Ralph. Zombie from Wreck-It Ralph.
I love Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, I just showed that to my kid. He loved it.
Hey, I dare you not to tear up when he's doing the bad guy oath at the end.
Like, half that movie is me tearing up.
Oh, yeah.
I say that. I teared up the whole thing.
Him breaking up the car, like that.
Oh, yeah.
Me.
I was chopping onions when I was watching.
Robot Gibson, what is emotion?
What is that coming from your eye?
You are leaking.
You will rest.
Maybe this foot kind of picks up on the overlap and kind of curl up the body a little bit more and then pick up the hips and rotate it a little bit more. Let's push this up.
Are you reading all the questions to him? Yeah. Where would you like to be in 5 years?
Yeah.
Where would I like to be in 5 years? Hopefully.
Where would you like the game to be in 5 years?
Is that what he said?
Mm-hmm.
Constantly improving. Hopefully still around, so I still have a job. Because honestly, at this point, I'm unemployable. Nobody else is going to hire me after seeing all my antics.
But you're so entertaining.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe the circus, right?
Who's in charge of the rigging?
Both me and Andrew do it. We trade off. So usually if we're working on a mob or monster, we make our own rigs for that because we'll just animate those by ourselves. We won't share the animations for that. With player characters, Andy, Cook has been taking over a lot of that duties. Duties.
Assuming you and Todd switch places, what would your first order of business be?
Rehire Todd.
Rehire or fire?
Put Todd right back in that position. I don't want that evil Ricky Bobby. That man does.
Don't you put that evil
Don't
on
you
me.
put that evil on me. There's no way that I would want the stress of running this company and keeping it afloat. Todd does an amazing job.
I wouldn't know what to do.
That's right, Todd.
I just tell
for you.
to do everything.
No, I mean, just like the stresses of this, making a game is insane enough as it is, but doing what he does in that creative position and wrangling all of us to make this game is an incredible task.
Todd just emailed me, you just got a raise.
Which NPC creature has the attack animation that you like the best?
I don't know. I did like a cool, I worked on the elk about a month ago, and he was a lot of fun. It's because he had these huge horns. I think everybody's seen the concept art. Or
I don't think so, actually.
who knows? I might not be able to talk about this, but whatever. But yeah, I had some really cool headbutts for him, and some when moose or deer attack, they get up on their hind legs and they do the boxing thing. And they make that weird noise, and that was a lot of fun to do. The Summer Hellcat, he has some really cool swipes. The first animations that I worked on when I started here were the zombie NPC animations, and I had to game them up a little bit more, but just that original base attack, again, it was all just flinging that axe around, him stumbling left and right while he's doing it, and that was a lot of fun to do. I had a lot of fun at King's Isle because every creature was unique at King's Isle. One of my favorite was the two-headed Etten, so it would have their heads arguing, and during his attack, he would do this swipe with a club, and his idle pose had the club up on his shoulder. Well, for that attack, he would place it up on his shoulder and hit the other head, and then the other head will get mad at him and punch that head in the face, and then they would start strangling each other. So that was a lot of fun to do. Hey, Val.
Whatever is the B answer.
Oh. Yes, ma'am?
So the A answer is, let me see if I can talk about that.
Oh, the
Bye, thank you.
Elk K.
Elk, what else?
Let's see.
Let's see. Boom. Kind of put that back in idle.
What do you do when you need inspiration?
Troll people. Honestly.
You need inspiration a lot, don't you?
Yeah. I go around making a mess of things. Serious answer would be if I'm having trouble with inspiration, go to YouTube, watch some movies, watch some videos, watch some cartoons, go and act it out myself. Spitball with Cook and Brandon and Eric, and just hey, what do you think this guy should do? So the biggest thing is, yeah, you could do it all yourself, try to get all the ideas from yourself, but eventually that well is going to run dry. And one of the biggest things that I learned from my old art lead from King's Isle, our animation lead from King's Isle, is you cannot draw from the same well because everything's going to start looking the same. So you need to keep it unique. You need to keep it exciting. And that is the biggest thing, is you have to be excited what you're working on. So even if I'm like, oh man, another Elk animation, I find the passion to try and make this unique. I'm getting paid to do this job, so don't want to phone it in. I want to make sure that it is as good as possible and as unique as possible. And I want to push myself with each animation that I do. So that's something you have to keep in mind. You have to be better than what you were yesterday. So have him settle like this. Pull his head back out of his neck. Thought I was going to say something else, huh?
I'm proud of you.
I'm not paying attention.
That's okay. You don't have to.
We can probably still
What?
bring these arms forward like they're still following through. Are there any animators in this stream? Any aspiring animators in this stream that are watching? Or are you just waiting for me to slip up and say something about the game?
That's what they're doing.
They
Most
thought-
of them.
I thought this was an O'Neill stream.
Have you seen any of the Oats Studios short films?
Give me an example.
That's just what Anthony asked about Oats Studios.
Oats Studios.
Apparently Anthony's used to do animation about 25 years ago.
It sounds familiar. I probably would recognize it more if there was like the movie attached to it.
I like his little open mouth bit there. Like he's yelling at the tree.
Get a lot of inspiration from my cat. Like when he gets really excited, crazy Spike. And saving.
So glad I don't have to save.
Thank you for watching, Elizabeth.
Do what?
Cook's wife is watching. I don't know. She's jealous because I saw him naked first.
That's fair. I can understand that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to work on this breakdown here. I want to plant this foot, and then I want this foot to still be dragging. So plant. And drag. Probably already have this kind of foot up in the air. Probably bring up the hips a little bit more on this. Bring it back to idle. And it just goes back like he just didn't headbutt a tree. All noble. Huh?
It's fine, I didn't do anything weird. Again, like cats.
Only 40 frames should do it. We want this to be less than a second because we want this to, every time you click, him to be headbutting. So that's another consideration that I need to take into that when he headbutts, that it'll, instead of him going all the way back to idle, it goes back to a point that will blend good into him doing it over and over again. Oh yeah, everyone, I got Employee of the Month here at Crowfall.
That is the incorrect usage of the words. You gave yourself Employee of the Month.
Chris Ledwith made that for me. I did not give myself Employee of the Month.
It's not even a thing.
I forgot that Chris gave that to you.
Yeah. I brought in a donut for everybody.
No. You brought in a donut for you.
I brought in a donut for me and one donut for everybody else.
Who got that other donut? Because I didn't see it.
Greg ate half of it.
Greg ate half of it?
Yeah. Aaron had a bite, then somebody else had finished it off.
I'm so upset.
I can just say I'm proud of myself.
I didn't see any of that donut.
You definitely don't get Employee of the Month.
Al didn't get a donut either.
Mm-mm. First come, first serve. Survival of the fittest. Not making a children's game here, people. Dog it up. If you want to eat that donut.
Does that mean the next time that I see you with a donut, I can just tackle you to the ground and take it, and you'll accept that?
Yeah, I would respect you for that.
Okay.
This is probably the worst picture ever taken of hers. God, it's awful, isn't it?
That's much better. That's terrible. It's like they took it off the fisheye lens.
Well, not only that, but the way they lit it, it just looks weird.
So do you think the potential different antlers are going to affect the way the Elken animation looks?
No. The antler's going to clip anyway, so regardless of the different ones, but it's just going to be so the clipping is going to be pretty minuscule. It's kind of what we call the 80-20 rule. You make 80% of it look good, then the other 20% can slide a little bit because you want to make sure that you don't sacrifice quality of the entire animation for one minor thing, like different antler placements.
Yeah.
All right, I have no idea how this is going to look, so let's see. It's really soft. I mean,
serious face.
There we go. I need a breakdown here. Should have been a rapper.
That was your true calling.
Mm-hmm.
You could still do it.
When did Jay-Z start rapping?
It's a good question.
Probably was 15.
You have the internet.
I'm not allowed to use it anymore since the incident?
No, not you.
Oh.
What was the question again?
When did Jay-Z start rapping?
Answer is, who cares?
His debut was 94.
I was in 4th or 6th grade. I can't remember. I repeated some grades.
Grade multiple? You repeated multiple grades?
Yeah, my dad said if you like something, stick with it.
Right.
I loved my freshman year in high school. Couldn't get enough of it.
I was 4 years old in 94.
Yeah. Youngin.
Years active, 1986 to present.
I was not born at that point.
Really?
I was born in 90.
So weird.
You're so weird.
It's funny, I was born in the 70s.
You're old.
The funny thing is, y'all be dead before me.
Why is that?
It's just how it goes.
It's just how it goes. Let the good die young.
Sure.
And so what we can do to add some more drama to this animation is when the impact happens, we can have like things shake, like the shoulders kind of shake on the impact and kind of tense up, so that we can have that flavor. So let's see. Let's just quickly add it in and see how it looks. It might be too soon to start doing stuff like this, but let's see. So kind of give it the diving board effect. So when you diving board has got the so you big motion down to small motion. Yeah. And this is something that's more felt than seen. I can bring that out all the way down the limb so you get stuff like that.
Answer says he wants to mount Elken heads on the walls the same way you would put heads on spikes.
I approve of that. Probably even do with the chest a little bit. Get some X rotation in there. Remember, big to small. So in animation, you can time things in a different way. So you can either take longer to get to the point, or you can travel further distance in a shorter amount of time. So it's kind of the two thoughts when you're animating. So usually what I do is on ones is I again, big motion to little motion, and keeping the timing the same with it on every frame. It kind of adds its own timing to it because I'm going to the smaller motion at the same time. So I don't know if I'm explaining it right or if I'm explaining the right thing. It's been a long
day, life,
month, yeah,
decade.
We'll also have some screen shake on this, so when he hits it, have that so look like the tree's hitting, and we'll have particles coming down.
How long did it take for you to shave your head?
5 minutes.
Did you go somewhere to get it done, or did you do it yourself?
I did it myself.
I've done that a couple times. It was a mistake. Yours looks very good, though.
Oh.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
It's very even.
I've always been told I have a very symmetrical head.
You do have a very symmetrical head. Not everybody can wear the shaved head.
J-Po today? Sometimes shirts wear them. He was wearing that shirt. He's looking good. He's lost a bunch of weight.
Yep, he's looking good. Zorain said, the shape of Doggett's head is indeed pleasing to the eye. Have you ever used Lightwave? What's your favorite program for animating?
Whatever one they pay for. No, I haven't used Lightwave. I started out in Maya back at Full Sail, and my first industry job was using Maya. But after that, it depending on the company, I had to use Max at Kings Isle. Then I went back to Maya, and now I'm back at Max again. There's stuff that I really like about both programs. Maya is generally a better animating program, but for timing, Max is a little bit easier because I can just grab the keyframe and just move it like that. With Maya, you have to highlight the keyframes with the middle mouse button and middle mouse drag. It doesn't exactly place them on the frames and kind of places in between. So it's more mouse clicks. Yeah, just there was Flipbook for 2D animation when I was experimenting with that stuff, and I really liked that. Maybe I should just leave this leg planet instead of pulling it forward here. Honestly, I'm kind of doing a little bit extra here. I'll probably start the animation around frame 5 and then let the engine blend into this point just to make it a little bit more reactive. But I like just seeing, I like controlling the blend just for a little bit. Don't know if I like what I did there.
They said by the engine blend, do you mean the positioning of the model?
No, what it does is it takes the current position wherever you are, like if you're running around or standing at idle, and when you start to play another animation, the poses really don't have to match. So I can actually control how long it takes to go from this animation to this animation, which I usually put as a 1/10 of a second over a 1/4 of a second. And that time, the engine automatically interpolates the pose from this pose to this pose, so I don't really have to control it. That way I'm not having to do a million transition animations from walk to ability, run to ability, sprint to ability, fidget to an ability. It does that kind of automatically. You don't want to leave it for everything because it makes things feel mushy, but it's good to do, especially if you're trying to get it really reactive. Because you wouldn't want to go from here back and let the engine pull it back to idle, because it'll just be very linear going back in. So I'm pulling them back to idle, and I'm going to clean all the stuff up coming back in. So that way when it goes back to idle, it looks smooth. But also, if I need to run, it'll blend into a run really well from here.
Which race has your favorite death drop? So like when they die and they fall down. And...
The Ganetian, because he screams to the heavens.
Excellent.
I don't like that at all, what I just did. Am I crazy? Hello, tree, my old friend.
Val asked if you get any inspiration from Spike.
Every day. He's been a mess. He doesn't like the colder weather. And he knows that we're moving.
Oh no,
Yeah.
but he's really upset.
Still hasn't forgiven me for getting Boomer. Our other cat.
How long's it been?
2 years. Still hasn't forgiven me for the wife.
How long has that been?
7. Let's be honest here.
He's like, man, it used to be you and me. What happened?
We were bros.
We were bros. Bachelors in our bachelor pad.
What's wrong, Elken? Nothing. I've been working hard all day and nobody said anything.
Poor Elken. He's only doing his best.
So I just loosened up the arms a little bit on that impact to give it more of an overlapping motion.
Ariel said, Elken can't speak. You need to brush up on your lore.
That was in his head.
Were you communicating telepathically with the Elken?
Yeah. Well, it's like Han Solo and Chewbacca talking. Like, they understand each other. It's obviously it's like Han Solo's like, this over there, and he's like, I know this, but they're jerks because they obviously understand each other's languages, but they're not going to speak it.
Yeah, right.
And so everybody's just standing around like, what did the Wookiee say, Han?
Nothing, it's fine.
Hey, Chewie, you want to get some Thai after work, huh? You want to go get some chopsticks, some soy sauce?
Perfect.
So does anybody know where the Wookiee wants to go?
Your Wookiee impression is almost as good as Raymond's.
Raymond wears jorts.
Have you heard his Wookiee impression, though? It's perfect.
I've heard his Forrest Gump impression.
Oh, Janae.
Janae.
It's terrible.
I know it is.
And O'Neill gets mad every time.
What? Me and Cook started working together, and we were like peas and carrots all over again. Todd, ice cream, Todd. Ice cream, Todd. Who do we figure Todd was in Dragon Ball Z? Was he
I
Frieza?
don't remember. Did we decide on Todd?
I don't. We decided on something with Todd. I want to say it was Frieza or maybe Blair's Master Roshi. Everybody asks who I am, and I'm like, oh, I'm Hercule.
Obviously. Duh. Is that even a question?
Yeah. By far, my
question: who's Yamcha?
We're like Raymond's either Yamcha or Krillin. Poor Raymond can't catch a break.
Oh, poor Raymond.
No, it might have been Tommy was Yamcha. It's either Tommy or Raymond.
Small and precious.
Because Aislinn and Lars were Tien and Chiaotzu.
Yes.
Greg was Vegeta because of his anger problems.
He's angry.
Yeah. Billy, I think we made Billy Mr. Piccolo. Or Piccolo.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Gordon's Beerus.
He's, joking and sassy, but could absolutely destroy you if he wanted to.
Oh, yeah. Maybe have his fingers fly open for a split second after he hits. Trying to remember we made Goku. It might have been Eric Hart or
We had
Greco.
a long discussion about that. And I don't remember who it was, because we kept X-naying everybody we decided was Goku.
Yeah, honestly, Raymond might have got... No, Sam was Goku, because
Sam ended up being
that man can put away some food. I can put away some food. He impressed me.
Yeah.
We went to this all-you-can-eat sushi.
I heard they kicked him out. Or
Yeah, they literally had to kick him out because he just kept on ordering food.
They just brought him his
And he
check,
just-
like,
he-
no question.
He just kept on dumping food into his mouth. It was amazing.
He had a tower of plates. It was
Yeah.
insane. Like, I had 2 rolls and I was like, I'm done forever now. That's it.
how can you say all you can eat and then stop someone from eating?
I mean, they didn't tell him you're done eating. They just brought him his check.
And he still was ordering.
That's all you can eat. I mean, you don't have to keep paying.
Yeah. I like CC's Pizza.
Ew.
Yeah, I know. That's
Ew.
the result. You gotta make sure the water's fresh when you drink it,
Right.
or else it's poison.
You need to have a designated tester.
Taste tester?
Yep.
I had to select one of the peasants.
Okay, instead you got Employee of the Month because you have the same hair as Gordon now. Oh, never mind. Nice touch on the finger flex. So what's that view right there?
Oh, this is the curve view. So I don't like looking at it. I don't like the curves. Let me put my thoughts together. Like I said, it's been a long week, people. Every single thing that you do when you're animating is translated into curves. So you have an X, Y, Z for position. You have an X, Y, Z for rotation. And so you actually see the curves here in the curve editor. So I can actually go in and see what the curves are doing for each rotational axis. And so what I was doing was I was making this point here linear. So basically it accelerates into it and comes to a harder stop. And then I can go back and tweak stuff like this. Like these are redundant keys here. I can need, when you leave them in, there's just a little bit of a mess there. So I can just remove some of these and then tweak the tangent so it's a little bit smoother coming through. This is really kind of like a fine tuning of the animation. throwing some overlap on certain things like that. But I was just kind of experimenting, making that key linear. Popular.
You're always popular.
I want to do the same thing with this hand here. That turned out really well. Flexing the fingers open, but I don't want them to happen at the same time, so I might just offset this key. Maybe have it close sooner. Kind of concentrate on blending back to idle. Maybe have his hips dip down, coming back in instead of delay this foot here.
Ariel said it's not complete until you animate the ears. Ear wobble.
Ear wobble.
What's been your favorite race to do animations for?
It's a toss up between the Ganesian and the Minotaur.
I do love the Minotaur's model. It's really well done.
Yeah, he was just a lot of fun to animate. The Ganesian was too, because I could loosen him up and make him a little bit more of a fun character. He wasn't as serious as all the other characters. And I know people are like, hamsters. But you have never heard my theory about dwarf hamsters. Apparently, they're extremely aggressive. And
I can confirm that.
Yeah,
Hamsters are mean.
Yeah, so if you take a hamster from another batch and you put it in there with the hamsters, all the other hamsters will swarm it and kill it. So what I wanted to do was start breeding dwarf hamsters and make them smaller and more aggressive, and then have like an army of them. And if somebody breaks into my house, I get swarmed by like these like thumb-sized like hamsters, and like. And they would see me as mama, because I would, yeah.
You're mom hamster.
I'm like mama hamster. I would have a costume on, with a hamster hoodie, maybe. I would rub. Can I say dead hamsters? I would rub live hamsters on me, so I smell like one of them.
I don't know which is weirder, honestly.
And they would see me as their surrogate mother.
You can just collect the urine.
You made it weirder. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Orgluck said, mom hamsters eat their babies, so I don't think there's a lot of love in hamster families.
Yeah, and see, I wouldn't be eating the hamsters, so they'd be like, you're the greatest mom in the world.
Mother ever. Mom of the year.
Is Val going to come in here and yell at me again?
No, I don't think so. I think you're allowed to talk about hamsters.
As long as the hamster isn't the next.
No, we already have hamsters. Burning question. Did you ever figure out how a centaur sits on a throne?
Awkwardly.
Good answer.
Awkwardly. We have some serious solutions for it. So instead of sitting on the throne, maybe he has like, I had one pose where he had the foot up kind of on it and was doing the Captain Morgan for it, like very kind of proud. We just have to make sure that area around the throne is clear.
Plus that can get uncomfortable after a while. Crashing. Atticus kept waking up last night. He was sick, coughing.
This is your 5-minute warning, by the way.
My 5-minute warning?
Yep.
Usually I have for like ears and stuff like that, I have a script I run on it that does automatic
Look at him wiggle.
Automatic secondary motion. So it saves me a little bit of time, but sometimes I like going in and maybe doing an ear twitch when he's turning and looking. Most animals kind of do that. You see it with your ears if they hear something and kind of turn towards
that's always
our
one of my favorite things that I'll notice in some animations is when the ear turns first and then the rest of the head goes.
It's like my cat when I'm calling him. I'm like, Spike, and I see his
You
ears
see the ear wiggle.
turning. I'm like, I know you hear me.
I know you are listening to me. And he's like, what? I didn't, sorry.
No, I'm over here pushing this off the table. I'll get back to you when I'm done, Dad.
I'm busy right now, Dad. Give me 1 second.
Okay, so 5-minute warning. So this is our first pass. I need to go back and clean it up and make sure the timing is kind of the same with what our normal harvest basic is. And so we probably propagate this out for the different races. This might be one of the few ones where we're not doing a direct transfer. We might have like the monster ones do the headbutt, the Ganesha might do a roll, or like, I don't know, a bite, and the humans do a shoulder slam. Just it's going to be the first thing you do in the game, so we might. So this is the first time experience where you want to make that unique and look good. But yeah, so kind of coming back in, and you can settle the crap out of this. So going back into idle. So I'll probably like have the blackout time here so I can blend back and forth if you're doing it over and over again and wanting to run. But if you just do it once and it settles back in, I can have the hips come back and overshoot up and settle back in. The same thing with the arms, and just think of the bouncing ball coming back in and doing that kind of fine-tune animation. But it really depends. A lot of that stuff you never really see, so depending on time, I might not do that, or it might just make the animation file size a little too big, so kind of cut some of that stuff out and rely on the blending going back into idle. But for advanced animators, this is kind of a way to really fine-tune that animation. So Uriel, how are you handling the skinning on the new system since it's so much lower to the ground than the others? They squat and kind of like swipe. We don't want to. The old skinning animation was like, he's flipping it and he's carving it out, kind of like Red Dead Redemption. And whereas this is more actiony. We need to gamify this up, so it's swipe, and so it's kind of ambiguous when you're slicing. All right, last chance for questions. I'll actually read the chat.
I think that was about the only one. Val's laying down the law about 5-3 right now. Oh, they want to see the animation play one more time.
Oh, absolutely. Do you remember that episode of The Simpsons where Homer adopted the elephant?
Yes. Yes.
And eventually they're like, Homer, you can't own an elephant, so they had to give it back to the preserve. And the elephant, like when they release it, it goes and starts headbutting all the other elephants. And Homer is like, what's going on? Or Marge is like, what's going on? They're like, well, elephants like humans can be jerks. And then the camera pulls back and Homer is like headbutting the park ranger. Mr. Simpson, I wish you would stop doing that. That's what I'm thinking when I'm doing this animation, so that's my inspiration.
Why? How come he has his hand up on his hip?
Because he's noble.
Yeah.
I like to think he's sassy, but Todd said he's noble. And
he's noble.
Those are the same thing.
Yeah. And so I can fine-tune that animation instead of it just lerping back. I can have him like, playing out on his hips. That's probably something I'll do when I get back to my desk. But I'll leave this playing for the next couple of minutes and read the chat. Undead Freddy, how many animations do you have to do? Do you have an amount of time? Do you try to devote to each one? When does the animation become good enough? Depending on the animation type, I spend about 6 to 8 hours on that animation, and then move on. Certain animations are a lot shorter to do. This one was a little bit simpler because he's just kind of like really blending between two poses, and I'm just kind of mixing that in there. So this will probably be, I'll probably spend another 3 hours on this, just polishing it up. And good enough is, it's never good enough, but it's just kind of a handing off point. I always try to go back and touch up animations later when I have more time. But for now, getting in the game, you know, it's anywhere from like 6 to 8 hours for an animation. Some of them take a little bit longer depending on how long they are and the complexity of it. Like stepping forward and headbutting a tree is different from jumping up in the air doing a 360 kick. Coolster, shouldn't the head flick up, kind of like picking the bark off the tree? It's more like he's hitting it to knock stuff down from the tree. We're not scraping the bark off the tree. I actually had an animation where they were kind of doing that first, but it was a little weird because the tree might be this big or it might be kind of like this big. So we just kind of went with the striking it to shake it.
You also have to make sure that the animation's nice and short because it's just repeated strikes.
Yeah. So it depends. It depends on really the direction of the animation I'm going. I actually did consider him kind of doing that, but I want it to be more of just a straight on impact.
Curious, go take a nap. You look so cozy.
You're welcome, Lobis. Do Ganetians eat their young? Only if they misbehave. We need a spiked sit animation. You should know me better than that right now. Can't. Okay.
All right.
I think that's it.
Say goodnight, Doggett.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.